Hey, I'm Paul with Rack Attack, and this is the Yakima StageTwo Platform Bicycle Hitch Rack. Here we're featuring it in the Vapor finish. So it's an off-white finish, also available in Anthracite, which is a gunmetal dark gray. So what we'll do here is take off these bikes, take off the rack, and then reload the rack and show you all the features that make this rack unique. So for starters, we'll take off this outside position bicycle here. This happens to be a road bike. So I'm just going to press in on the tab here to release the ratchet strap, and then get a hold of the bike, and then press in on this button, and that'll release the hold down hook, and I'll just pivot that forward, and that releases the bike, and I can pull it off. So this rack can accommodate a wide range of different bicycle styles and wheel styles as well. So this second bike here, this is a mountain bike with a 29-inch wheel. This can accommodate wheel tire sizes as wide as 3.25 inches. Now, if you happen to have a bicycle with wider tires, there is an accessory that will accommodate the wider tire. It's a StageTwo Fat Bike Kit. And then that will give you the required longer strap, as well as stability straps for the front wheel that goes through the slot in that front cradle. And then that'll give you the added stability to carry wider bike tires beyond the 3.25 inch. Okay, so let's get this bike off. Same thing. We'll just press in on the tab, release that strap, get a hold of the bike, and press in on that knob. And now we can lift the bike up and out of the way. And now with the bike out of the way, you can get a better close-up look at the rack itself and that high-quality Vapor powder coat finish. I'm going to go ahead and put the rack in its stowed position and reinstall those straps. Now the rack has a tilt-up feature, which is activated with this handle in a very convenient location. I'll just lift and pull outward on that a little bit, and then that allows me to put this rack into that stowed position, so you have very little issues with clearance. Only adds a foot or so from the back of the vehicle. Okay, now let's go ahead and take the rack off, and to do that we would first unlock this. It uses the Yakima SKS lock core, which stands for Same Key System. That means that all of the locks on this rack are all key matched, and if you purchase the StageTwo Plus 2 extension, you can have all the locks that come with that rack key matched as well for convenience. Okay, so we don't have it locked right now, so I can just start turning. So I'll turn counterclockwise, and that is releasing a wedge that's on the inside of the hitch right now. Also, we have a pull pin here. I'll go ahead and pull that out, and I'll explain that a little bit more in detail once I pull the rack off. So let's go ahead and just lift and pull the rack off. Now this rack is a heavy-duty rack. It weighs in at 64 pounds. It's constructed of a combination of heavy gauge steel, as you can see here with the stinger and these lower base plates. But the trays, the two trays that are supporting the bike, those are aluminum, and that helps to save weight overall on the rack, yet still maintaining its very high weight carrying capacity. So this does have a weight carrying capacity of 60 pounds per bike, and that's in on-road use. If you choose to take this rack off-road, it is capable for off-road applications. However, that will reduce the weight carrying capacity to 36 pounds per bike tray. Okay, so now back to the method of attachment. You can now see the wedge here, and so the turn knob will activate that wedge and push the wedge into the corner of the receiver. And that, by pushing it into the corner, that's giving you an anti-wobble both vertically and horizontally. Now you can see where I'm resting the rack currently on the floor here. Now that is a safety feature and also helps protect the rack if you happen to have a vehicle with very low clearances and you scrape the rack on an incline. That would be a protector for that, and also a protector for the handle too. So that's the purpose of that extra extension that you see down below there. Okay, so now let's go ahead and lift it back up. Now when we load this rack, we want to keep it in this stowed right angle position. That makes it much easier to lift and to guide it into the receiver. So here I'm just inserting it, bringing the rack to the horizontal position. And at this point, what I want to do is take this push pin knob. This knob and pin will ensure that you've inserted the rack to the correct depth. So what I'm going to do is put that knob and pin through the hitch pin hole and then begin pushing the rack into the hitch. And what will happen is that pin finds the hole in the rack and ensures that you're at the correct depth. Okay, now here you can see the wobble that we have before we tighten the knob. So let's go ahead and tighten that knob. I'll continue to wobble it because that way it'll help that wedge get nested into the corner of the receiver. So I keep on wobbling the rack until I have that fully tightened. And now you can see the whole rack is rocking the vehicle before the rack is moving inside the hitch. Okay, so now what I can show you is that SKS lock core in action. Let me go ahead and lock it. And now with that locked, this turn knob spins freely, so it doesn't tighten or loosen until you unlock that lock core there. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some other features. So the two trays we discussed, those are aluminum trays to help save weight. From a security standpoint, you can see here we have the fasteners, and those fasteners are attached using security bolts and a security tool that's included. So that enhances the overall security of the rack. So you can see there is a point inside the hex, and the tool that's provided has a hollow point. So that means that this tool works in that fastener, but a standard hex will not. So that adds an extra layer of security to the rack overall. Okay, and also you'll notice that there are the extra bolt that's here and also here. So that allows for these two trays to be offset. So here we have it set up in the default position, but it does allow for offsetting of the trays in case you ever have any interference from one bike to the next. Okay, so let's put it into the carrying position. I'm just going to lift on that lever, and once I've lifted and it's disengaged, I can let go of that lever and just guide it down. It'll automatically engage into the carrying position. Now in this position, you can see clearly it has two different heights of the first and second tray. So this is considered stadium positioning, and that also is there in order to help with the bike-to-bike interference and to minimize or eliminate that. In addition, you have the angle of the backbone, which provides additional ground clearance. And so overall, you have a good combination and thoughtfully designed. Okay, so let's go ahead and load our bikes. I'll go ahead and to do that, move this hold down arm to the outside position and fully extend the hold down hook. And let's go ahead and open up this rear cradle. Now what I'll do on this bike is demonstrate an alternative method of loading. I'm going to go ahead and bring the rack down into the access position. This position is normally used when you want to access the back of the vehicle without having to take off the bikes. But in this case, we'll use it in order to help bring the rack to a lower position, making it easier to load up that inside bike. So what I'll do is I'll first get that front wheel into the front wheel cradle, and I'll get some stability from that. And now with just one hand, I'm holding the handlebars, and the other hand, I'm going to bring that hook up and over the tire and get that position about an inch away from the first point of contact. And once it makes contact, you want to get a really good strong push down on that, because that's where it gets all of its stability and security from that grip. Now here on the back, what I'll go ahead and do at this point is lift the rack back up. So when I lifted, I didn't have to disengage the release lever. I just lifted, and now I'll go ahead and bring that strap back through. So this rear wheel cradle is fully adjustable along this section of the tray and can accommodate wheelbases all the way up to 52 inches. The positioning should be generally directly below the axle. So you choose that spot for the best positioning of the rear wheel strap. Okay, let's go ahead and load the road bike. And here you can get a better look at this front wheel cradle, how it can accommodate the very wide tires, but then scales down to narrower tires, all the way down to a narrow road bike tire. And I'm going to show how much stability that simple groove will provide. Okay, so I got the bike. Just lift that into place. Now here you can see I'm shaking this front wheel, and it's in that groove. So that groove really does provide a lot of stability even before you've cinched down the hold down hook here. But let's go ahead and do that hold down hook. Same thing, about an inch or so away from the first point of contact. And then here I got a good push down point. Get a good solid grip on that. Make sure your tire is completely in the deep part of the V of that hook. Okay, and then back to the back again, the rear axle, come down to here. And now this particular bike has carbon fiber rims, so it's important to know it's not necessary to tighten this very tight. It's just get it snug, and that's all you have to do, and that'll keep that wheel in place where it needs to be. It's just intended to keep that wheel from bouncing out of the tray area. Okay, now we discussed some security before. We also have the integrated security for each bike. So here we have a cable that's housed in the top of the arm that can wrap around the frame of the bike, and then it can engage into this lockdown point here. So I have it set with this lock cylinder to where it automatically snapped into position. It's also an option to where you can leave it in the unlock position to where it requires the key in order to lock it. So there's two modes that you can have that set on, to where it automatically snaps on and locks, or it requires the key to lock it. Now this is a braided steel cable, so it offers a very good level of theft deterrent, especially for the fact that it's with the rack and it's very convenient to use. However, if you have very high value bicycles, Yakima has welded on a lockdown point onto this steel backbone. The welded part is also steel, and that can provide an excellent point to lock your bikes with an alternative cable that you would purchase separately of your choosing. Could be a thicker cable, could be a chain type cable, whatever you feel is appropriate for your high value bicycles. Okay, so now let's go ahead and check out the access position. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the lever one more time, allow the rack to tilt down, and let's go ahead and see our clearance for the back of the vehicle here. So when we open that, now we have the bicycle with the widest handlebars closest to the vehicle, and it clears without any contact there. This bicycle happens to have 765 millimeter handlebars, and that there's still a fair amount of clearance. But that gives you easy access to the back of the vehicle without having to load or unload this rack. And then to bring it back, you don't have to touch the release, you just lift, and that'll automatically snap into that position. Okay, so we mentioned some accessories. There's also another accessory that you could consider adding. This is the safety mate. And the safety mate will provide LED lights as well as a license plate relocation kit that also offers illumination. And it's all working with this Stage 2 rack. You have the wire ports that are located here that you'll be able to run all the wire harness through, and it will go all the way through the backbone of the rack and then connect to a flat 4 connection on your vehicle if your vehicle has the wire kit. Now, if your vehicle is not equipped with a flat 4, generally the adapters are readily available through most Hitch retailers. Okay, and then in addition to that, if you choose to use this rack for extra heavy-duty bikes, such as electric bikes, Yakima also has the on-ramp, which is an additional accessory you can purchase separately in order to give you a convenient means of loading the bicycles up on a ramp without having to lift the bike that might be too heavy for some people. So this rack offers it's full featured, offering all these add-ons that some people may need, but as a standalone rack, it offers the premium, extra heavy duty capability, good looks with this powder coat finish in the vapor or the anthracite. And those are all the key features of the Yakima StageTwo platform hitch rack. This product and the full line of Yakima products are available at rackattack.com. Please see the link in the video description for all your buying options. And if you have any questions or comments on this rack in particular, feel free to leave those in the comments section below. And consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. We have over 2,000 rack-related videos, and we upload new videos weekly. That's all for this one, and thanks for watching.